So it is now around 10:35 a.m. on Thursday, August 25th. This is the second video that I'm making this morning while sitting out here having a pretty strong cup of morning coffee. And I am making this second video to note the fact that the baseline activity level for this street on weekday mornings is really, really quiet. So 2 nights ago at about 10:30 p.m., several vehicles came through here at a very high rate of speed at about, I'd say, 10:30. And we're doing burnouts on the street in front of the speed bump that's right over there. And one of them hit something really hard. I don't know if it was a tree or a street lamp. There's a street lamp right there. There's also another one right there. But there was a super loud crashing noise, and a bunch of people from surrounding houses came running over to this area right here, and the vehicle sped off. So it was like a hit and run. But I don't know if they hit a parked car or if they hit, the curb or a tree or something. Anyway, there was a group of concerned residents standing on this sidewalk right here for about 20-25 minutes, talking about how there's a lot of cars driving through here at a very high rate of speed, and that they hit things and then they keep going. So there's been a few hit and runs on the street recently, it sounds like. And even though there are 2 speed bumps at both ends of the street, cars still drive through here really, really fast. And what I've noticed is that within a few minutes of, myself and my family coming out to this front seating area to sit, it'll be really, really quiet. And then maybe 5 minutes later or so, there's these flash mobs of cars that drive through here, which indicates some kind of activist situation. So now, with technology being the way it is, there's cameras everywhere. People have cameras in their front lawns. They have doorbell cameras. There's cameras on the street. People can, if they want to really harass you, can place little tiny cameras, around your house to see what you're doing, to see when you leave, when you come home, to see what you're doing in your front yard or whatever. And they can put this anywhere around the front of your property. So there's little tiny cameras called microdots, and they can stick those pretty much anywhere they want and just watch what you do. So if people really want to harass you, that's all they need to do. And I've noticed a pattern over the last couple of months of being out here, that whenever my family and I come out here to sit, within just a couple of minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, all of a sudden the street will go from being dead like this to having, 8, 10, 15, sometimes more than that, cars driving through here really fast, like literally on each other's tails, just a few feet apart. And they go really fast. They make noise. They do burnouts. They honk their horn. They blast music. They get really disruptive. And they do this like one after the other. They just zip through here. There's no reason for this. There are like 30 other side streets right next to this one, joining 2 larger streets. So there's no reason for like 20 cars to suddenly come driving through this one little side street right here, in the middle of a morning on a Tuesday or whatever, but that's what happens. So not only have I worked as a research scientist for 18 years in the biotechnology and pharmaceutical industry, and have literally studied the world through a microscope, and I notice things that other people might miss, but I've also studied statistics at the PhD level. And so I understand that when something happens repeatedly in a pattern that is observable and reproducible, it's not an accident. It is not a strange coincidence. And when something happens every single time that you happen to do something, let's say, you leave your house, you walk to the corner, and a red car drives by, and this happens every single time you leave your house, you walk to the corner, and you're standing on the corner, this red car drives by, regardless of time of day, that's not an accident. There's a connection to what you're doing and to what the red car is doing. And a lot of people are too stupid to realize this. They think that whatever strange coincidences happen to them is a strange coincidence. If it happens once or twice, it's a coincidence, right? Sure, everything happens once or twice. Anything can happen once or twice. But when it happens like 8, 10, 20, 50, 100 times, it's not a coincidence. So that's what I'm referring to here with the flash mobs of really aggressive, rapid vehicles just zipping through the street one after the other, pretty much literally on each other's tails. That's not an accident. That's a coordinated effort, probably related to some sort of liberal activist group. And it has something to do with somebody having knowledge of who does what, on the street, obviously. There's cameras, there's street cams, people have doorbell cams, people have surveillance cameras on the front of their houses. One lady 2 nights ago was talking about how she's got a camera in her front yard. So if people want to see who's sitting out in their front yards and when, they can. That's easy. All you need is access to that camera or to the footage. And that is so easy these days with hackers being everywhere and these liberal activist groups having hackers working for them 24/7. I mean, that's all you hear in the news anyway, is how everybody's being hacked. It's really not a stretch. Duh. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my coffee and this beautiful, now quiet morning. It wasn't quiet 10 minutes ago, but it is super quiet now. And get going on everything that I need to do today, which is a lot. I usually get going on my workday at about 11:30 a.m. and spend about 5.5, 6 hours working on business stuff. Then I get to stuff around the house later in the afternoon. But first, phone calls, emails, etc.